Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be discussing your dominant signs and planets within astrology, and we're going to look at how to find them. So I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to find them. Now, I have made a couple of videos talking about dominant signs and planets in the past, so that was about a few years ago. But consider this as an updated version. Though on that note, I do hope that you find this video to be helpful, to be somewhat useful. But with all that being said, well, let's do this. Okay, so first and foremost, let's go over a quick tutorial on how to find your dominant signs and planets. So I'm going to be using astro.com for the purpose of this video, and so full credit goes to astro.com for their chart generators. So if you know your birth information, so time of birth, place of birth, date of birth, all that good stuff, type all of that in. Once you've done that, select your name. And then go to extended chart selection. Once there, go to Pullen/Astrology. I think that's how it's pronounced. Then remember to choose your preferred house system. I personally prefer to use whole signs, so I'm going to select whole signs from the house system section. Of course, you can choose whatever system suits you, whatever system you prefer. Then above where it says chart type, select simple chart delineation, could be pronouncing that wrong as well, by Walter Pullen. Then go to click here to show chart. Then what you gotta do is scroll all the way down until you reach this section that I am showing you. Of course, it's going to turn up differently on your phone in comparison to the computer, but just scroll down to this section. So this right here is going to show you the ranking positions of your dominant signs and planets. This section will also show your strongest element and modality. So as you can see from this example that I'm showing you, my most dominant planets are Jupiter, followed by Mars, followed by Saturn. And the most dominant signs here with this example are Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Pisces. You can see that my most powerful element is Earth, and my most powerful modality is mutable. Okay, so now we have retrieved the most dominant signs and planets. Let's take a look at the chart to see how these dominant signs and planets came to be. So, as you can see from this chart, I have Capricorn placements, I have Sagittarius placements, I also have planets in the 12th house, the house ruled by Pisces. We've also got Saturn there, the chart ruler in Pisces. And if we scroll down, notice how there are loads of aspects being made to Saturn. Plus, there are planets in my 10th house, the house ruled by Capricorn. And then there are planets in my 9th house, the house ruled by Sagittarius. Right, so let's now get into what your dominant signs and planets mean. So basically, your dominant signs and planets, they represent the building blocks of your personality. So the lowest block is your least dominant sign or planet, and the highest block is your most dominant sign or planet. You need all of these blocks, but the blocks towards the top, they are shown the most. They are probably used the most as well. Imagine a stack of books, okay? A stack of books that you own. You're not going to place the one that you read the most at the bottom. That doesn't really make sense. Unless you want to make life more complicated for yourself. You're going to place the book that you read the most on top of the pile? I mean, of course, you read it more than the others. And so, using this book example, your dominant signs and planets are like the books you read the most. They are the energies that you draw from the most. And the thing about this as well is that you draw from these energies without even much effort, okay? Essentially, they represent your primary dominant functions. And it is interesting because within the MBTI community, they talk about dominant functions. So for example, an ENFJ's dominant function is extroverted feeling. This is the ENFJ's leading function. And so when looking at your dominant signs and planets, imagine them as your leading functions. They're the strongest signs and planets within your chart. And so therefore, they are the strongest parts of your personality, of your characteristics. So here's a fun exercise you could try, okay? Try stacking up your dominant signs and your dominant planets. I'll do it with this chart that I'm showing you, and then I'll show them on screen. Notice how Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn are the most dominant planets, and how the Moon, Sun, and Pluto are the least dominant planets / celestial bodies. Moreover, notice how Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Pisces are the most dominant signs, and then Cancer, Leo, and Taurus are the least dominant signs. Now, I hear you probably saying, what about the elements? What about the modalities, Hannah? Well, same thing. Now, in the case of this chart, the elements are pretty well balanced, okay? As you can see here from what I'm showing you. It's not like I have only 10% water and then the other elements are really high. Though with that being said, if an element is low, so if water was really, really low, for example, it's a good idea to see why that may be. So what is going on in the chart? What is it about their chart that translates to them not being secure in their emotions, for example? Or why is it that they find it challenging to feel? Are they not really in tune with their emotions? Similar thing when it comes to the modalities, okay? And in the case of this chart, fixed is a fair bit lower than cardinal and mutable, as you can see. So I might be a creative go-getter, and I may have all of these ideas that I want to pursue, but perhaps I have a hard time following things through until completion. But again, it's about looking at the chart to understand why this is. It could be that I doubt myself, or maybe I find it hard to stick at one thing for too long because I'm super critical of myself. Or maybe I feel blocked when it comes to my imagination. Or perhaps I get caught up in other people's opinions and I worry about their opinions excessively. Okay, so with all that explained, let's move on to the difference between your dominant signs and your dominant planets. Again, I talked about this a few years ago, but consider this an updated version. Okay, so firstly, your dominant signs are the most obvious parts of your personality. So looking at my chart in real life, my dominant signs are Aquarius, Capricorn, and Virgo. These signs are very obvious to people I know. These signs are shown outwardly without me even trying, without me having to think about it. Especially given that Virgo is my rising sign and Aquarius is my sun sign. Though keep in mind that the rising sign represents our outward appearance and identity, and then the sun sign represents our self-expression and our ego. Though on that note, when looking at dominant signs and planets, make sure you're locating your dominant signs and planets in your birth chart as well. This will help you to see why these signs, why these planets are dominant. Still, these signs, okay, so the dominant signs, they show up within my personality very clearly and very strongly. Furthermore, it's also a good idea to see where these signs are playing out within your life. So for example, I have Capricorn ruling my 5th house within my chart, suggesting that one of my dominant signs of Capricorn it's showing up greatly within my romantic relationships and within my creative projects and so on. But maybe you're someone with Capricorn as your dominant sign and you have Capricorn ruling your third house within your chart. Perhaps your dominant sign of Capricorn, it shows up greatly within your daily interactions with others and within your within the way that you learn, okay, and so on, within the way that you process information. Moreover, consider the ruling planet of your dominant signs. So looking at Capricorn ruling the fifth house again, well, Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn, and in my chart, Saturn is in my sixth house, suggesting that my creative projects are a part of my everyday working life. Or looking at the Capricorn ruling the third house again, Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn, and if Saturn is in your fourth house and then you've got that Capricorn energy ruling the third house, well, this suggests that you learn a great deal within your home. Perhaps the subject you learn about is associated with property or homemaking or family. Now, on the other hand, my least dominant signs are Taurus, Sagittarius, and Libra. However, my progressed moon, so my secondary progressed moon, is in Taurus right now. And then my progressed ascendant is in Libra. So whilst these signs, yes, they're the least dominant, over time, they can be felt. They can be seen. This is the beauty of growth when it comes to astrology. Likewise, this year, I'll have a Taurus moon within my solar return chart. Plus, I have so many people in my life who are Libras, people in my life with Taurus placements and Sagittarius placements. So again, these signs may not be the most dominant. They may feel the most alien to me, but due to loved ones and growth, I can develop qualities associated with these signs. For example, I am not as black and white in my thinking as I was years ago, and I am much more considerate towards other people's feelings and experiences. Now, having said that, okay, I still have Taurus, Sagittarius, and Libra ruling particular houses within my chart. So for example, I have Libra ruling the second house within my chart. And so I'm going to showcase Libra-like qualities when it comes to my finances, when it comes to my belongings, when it comes to my earning potential. But when locating Venus, the ruler of Libra, I have Venus in Capricorn. And Capricorn is one of my most dominant signs. So the qualities of Capricorn, they may overrule the Libra qualities. I'm still going to act like a Libra when it comes to material matters, but that Capricorn energy, it is felt and it is shown greatly. Or another example is I have Sagittarius ruling my fourth house within my chart, and so I'm going to showcase Sagittarius-like qualities when it comes to my home life, when it comes to family. But when locating Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, I have Jupiter in Virgo, conjunct my Virgo rising. And Virgo, like I said, is another dominant sign of mine. Therefore, the qualities of Virgo may take over. I'm still going to act like a Sagittarius when it comes to my living situation, but that Virgo energy, it's strong. It is felt greatly. Right, so moving on to your dominant planets. Your dominant planets illustrate the strongest parts of your inner functions. Okay, so imagine two separate stacks. One stack shows your dominant signs, and the other stack shows your dominant planets. The dominant sign stack will show your strongest personality traits at the top, along with your least shown personality traits at the bottom. But then the dominant planet stack, that will show you your most used inner functions at the top, along with your least used inner functions at the bottom. These functions, they are still tied to your personality. Again, let's use my chart in real life as an example. Mercury is my most dominant planet, and I'm always thinking too much, painfully so at times. I'm a huge overthinker. This is still a part of my personality, yeah. But at the same time, this is a part of how I function internally. Now, Mercury makes up about 18% of my chart in comparison to the other planets, which are all under 10%. So Mercury's quite high in comparison to the others. Uranus then is my second most dominant planet at 9.4%, but it's pretty clear that Mercury comes out on top. And interestingly, Jupiter is my least dominant planet. And I'm really not the most positive person. I also find it challenging to consider the bigger picture at times. I can get caught up in minor details. But again, these things I'm talking about, they are going on within me. You know, it's looking at my inner functions. They are associated with how I operate on the inside. And they're pretty close to me. Now, thankfully, I have Jupiter in my first house, so I'm not all doom and gloom. Though it is retrograde, to be fair. But still, I try my best to keep an upbeat and a hopeful outlook. But you best believe that my mind takes over. Okay, Mercury takes over. Pessimism takes over. So with that being said, why is Mercury my most dominant planet? Firstly, I have a Virgo rising, and so Mercury is my chart ruler. I will be making an updated video about the chart ruler, so stay tuned, and once I make that video, I will link it down below, as I typically do. So yeah, Mercury is my chart ruler. It's also trine my Gemini midheaven, another sign ruled by Mercury. And it's making many aspects to other planets, and it's conjunct my sun in the 6th house, a house which is traditionally Mercury ruled. So you can kind of see why Mercury being my most dominant planet, why that is. And so try this within your own chart, basically. See why your planets are dominant, and then also, of course, locate how they are operating, how they're functioning within your chart. So where are they? What house are they in? What aspects are being made to them, and so on. But at the same time, consider the signs your dominant planets are in. So as you can see from my chart, my Mercury is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is my most dominant sign. So naturally, I'm going to draw from this planet and sign first. Moreover, I have Saturn and the Sun conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. So I'm not going to be as quick-witted as other Aquarians. I'm not a quick-witted person. I don't consider myself to be funny. I'm not very good at coming up with jokes on the spot. It's just not me. In fact, I'm more reserved. I am much more reserved and cautious, perhaps in comparison to the typical Aquarian. So essentially here, folks, when it comes to your dominant planets, make sure that you're looking towards the signs that your dominant planets are in, the houses they're in, and what aspects are being made. Just basically look at how these dominant planets show up for you. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking about how to find your dominant signs and planets. And we're just basically looking at your dominant signs and planets overall. So looking at those building blocks of your personality. On that note, I really do hope that the tutorial was concise. I hope it was easy to understand, and I hope that you find this information to be helpful. I really do hope that you were able to follow along today. But with that being said, feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I really do appreciate your feedback. But yeah, overall, I just hope I was able to create an updated version of dominant signs and planets that is useful to you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing as always. And if you haven't subscribed and you want to keep up to date with more videos, then make sure that you click that subscribe button. And also, if you did like this video, then make sure that you give it a like today. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye.